We are doing the PowerPoints of my money story only so that you can understand the PowerPoints of your money story, and only so that you can understand how we learn to incarnate into this world, into this universe. Our soul incarnates, and our ultimate destiny is to really incarnate into reality. And so, one of the beautiful pieces of incarnation and soul incarnation is learning to create money and abundance and wealth, because we're learning to play in a physical reality. This is where things get exciting, right? We learn to take our high visions, our high awareness of ourselves, our gifts, our talents, who we are, who we know ourselves to be, and we choose to then gift it to the world around us. And then we start to play in reality in a whole new way. And whether we like it or not, we do need to create money to live just on that survival basis. And on a bigger level, we need to learn to create money so that we can also learn to use it to empower people and be more generous with those around us, whether it's supporting a charity or putting money in the right ways. And there is a beautiful journey of going to becoming the conscious creator who chooses to incarnate their soul, and the one that chooses to incarnate their soul simultaneously chooses to be a conscious creator. And if you're simultaneously choosing to incarnate and be a conscious creator, then you're ultimately learning how to create wealth and abundance and prosperity in reality. So there's no getting away from it. And for me, I'd like to share with you today some of the PowerPoints along my journey around soul incarnation, choosing to embody my soul's brilliance, and learning to create wealth and money and abundance and prosperity from it. Because for me, this is all part of the big game of our life mastery. It's part of how we master life, and it's a game that we all must learn to choose to play. It's not the most easiest game. Sometimes it can bring up a lot of our old limiting beliefs that money is wrong, or it's a sin, or we shouldn't have it, or I'm a failure and I can't create it, or I don't know what to do, or I'm a slave to my environment, or I'm a slave to my work. And it brings up all this stuff which can feel uncomfortable. But this is part of the evolution, right? We've got to bring up all this old, outdated money story, the old, outdated generational money story, get rid of it, and learn to remember who we truly are, who we authentically are, who we are as a soul, and what we're here to manifest, right, in this universe. And then how we can learn the tools or gather the resources to actually manifest our soul into physical reality so that we can create our abundance and live and exist and have an extraordinary life, right? Because at the end of the day, money's an energy, it's a currency, it's a frequency, and it's the way that we get to play with reality, right? And so more money needs to be in the hands of more good people, because good people play with money in a very beautiful way. They play with money in a way that is empowering, enriching. They play with money in a way that is innovative and is full of integrity. And the more good people play with money, the more good people have money to play with, right? The more we get to recreate our world, our environment, our community, right? So we've got to play at that level of the game. Like that's the level of the game we've got to go to. And so it's really important we make the choice into that. And it is a choice, right? It's choosing to create a wealth. It's choosing to create abundance. It's choosing to create prosperity, right? And once we do, we can play with life in a whole other new way. So over the next 2 weeks, I'm diving into this topic of money, wealth, prosperity, how to create it, how to embody it, how to embrace it, how to become it, how to give yourself permission to exist with it, and then what to do when you have it, right? So come hang out with me over the next 2 weeks. We've got a free meditation evening next Wednesday. You'll see little posts about. I've got an amazing online course also around all this. And if you stay to the end of this live, I also have a very special coupon code which will give you 25% off. So if you're hearing this and you know this, listen to my story and I will reveal the coupon code for you, because I want to play with you, right? I want you to play with money, and I want you to have a great solid backbone to play with it, because welcome to the game of life, and it's a very, very important component. So just welcoming you to this live. For those that are watching the replay, my name is Vanya Silverton. I'm an energy healer and teacher, and I do some really extraordinary work around embodying your soul's brilliance. And I would like to say hello to everybody. So hello. But I want to tell you my money story, because I come from literally zero or literally on the opposite end of zero. And I want to share with you some of the PowerPoints along my journey into creating money and wealth and abundance and what that's been like. And I want to share that with you so that so that it inspires you, right? But also so that you might have similar PowerPoints. You're like, oh yeah, that's why that happened to me. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Or I'm right here in this one right now. So I want you to use my story as a way to kind of unlock your story, right? Because for me, there is only one path. The path is we embody ourselves, we get rid of all the old stuff, we learn to radiate our brilliance, and we create prosperity from it. There's only one path, right? And that prosperity is love and joy and abundance and wealth and all those things, right? But there is only one path. So my path is also your path. So let me take you on a little journey. So, like I said, let's talk about my zero to hero journey. I come from I grew up on welfare. So I'm one of these people that grew up on welfare. I come from a very broken family. So I think I went to 13 different schools. I had 8 different family scenarios. So I moved around a lot. I had a father who was always in debt. My mom, we were on welfare. So I began with nothing, and I come from a very small hick town in Australia, right? And probably to my advantage, because when you have nothing, right, it's nice to be around people or a village or a town that actually doesn't really care about this stuff. So because I come from a farming community, on the inside, I didn't feel I was poor, right? Even though we were poor, like there were times where there was no food in the house. There were times where sometimes no toilet paper. There was times I remember being 14 years old and I had to go out and work to buy my own school books. Like who buys their school books at 14? I bought my own school books at 14. I had to go work to buy my own school books. So there is this poverty, but because I grew up in a village of farmers, there was no real class system, right? Everyone just kind of like got on with it and off you went. So I was lucky. Although I came from a very poor family, the environment I grew up in didn't really have that much emphasis on whether you came from this family or that education or had that. Like if I was in London, right, where I am now, I'd probably feel like I would have had nothing because of the wealth and the classes that are here. So I was very lucky on that sense. So I didn't ever feel kind of poor inside. But what that experience taught me, and these are 2 very important PowerPoints, is number 1, I learnt work ethic. I learnt that I had to work in order to live. I had to work in order to get my things. I had to work in order to buy clothes. I had to work in order to make sure I paid for things. So nothing was handed to me. I didn't get any inheritance. I didn't get any extra gifts or any extra bonuses from my family. I wasn't shown the world by my family. I had to work for it. So one of my most important PowerPoints is work ethic. And this work ethic PowerPoint has lasted me right up to now. I love to work. I find the joy in working. I find the joy in being useful. I find the joy in completing tasks. I find the joy in having goals. I find the joy in doing a job well done, right? And so that from that young age, this PowerPoint of work ethic has served me. And I feel almost sorry for this millennial generation where work ethic is not really a thing, right? It's like, how do we influence? How do we get more likes on TikTok? And I feel sorry that this basic PowerPoint to create wealth is not there. So this is a PowerPoint. Work ethic is a PowerPoint to create money and wealth. Will you turn up? Will you wake up at 6 a.m.? Will you go and do a crappy little job because you just got to go do it to pay the bills, right? And I've had crappy jobs, right, along the way, like really crappy jobs where I was selling cigarettes to drunk people, like low end of the spectrum, right? Cigarettes to drunk people. So we have these moments where sometimes we just got to get on and do what we have to do. We get on, and if that's what's the work that's available, you get on and do it. And then you find the next better thing and the next better thing and the next better thing. But you don't sit around not working, and you don't sit around praying and wishing for something to fall down from the sky. So that was my number 1 PowerPoint. My number 2 PowerPoint, or maybe this should be my number 1 PowerPoint, is I learned from a very early age, you're on your own, right? You're on your own. No one's going to save you. No one's going to support you. No one's going to look after you. No one will pay for your university. In fact, no one will even pay for you to have accommodation at a university. No one's even going to pay for your school books or your food or the clothes that you wear. You are on your own. And that's a hard lesson to learn when you're a young child, right? And you're seeing other people getting basic things given to them. That's a hard lesson to learn. But I tell you what, that lesson has served me up until today. And it's very important because, particularly if we're looking at soul incarnation and learning to incarnate our soul and embody who we are, right, and create abundance from it, you're on your own. It's you and your soul. It's you and yourself motivating yourself. It's you and yourself giving yourself visions. It's you and yourself believing in yourself. That's it. And so part of the journey into wealth and abundance creation is believing in yourself, believing that you're the one that can do it. You're the one that's going to make it. You're the one that can create the thing, right? And so that independence, right, is powerful. Is powerful because you, my beautiful being, is the only one who's going to put the wind in your sails to help you move forward, right? You're the only one that is able to do that. And so it's very important that you remember that you're independent, because a lot of people, especially women, right, or especially from fairy tales, we kind of wait for this magical moment where we win the lottery, right? Or Prince Charming comes along, or we'll pray and this magical door will open and everything will fall into place, and da-da, I'm living in the life of my dreams because I deserve it, right? Well, actually, the more you recognize that you're the one that gets to create it, the more closer you are to reality to make it happen, right? The more closer you are to reality to make it happen. And this is the level we want to be playing at. We want to be playing at a place of reality, not at a place of illusion. So learning to be independent is always key. And my grandmother said to me when I was 12, she said, Vanya, always keep your independence. And she meant by that, make sure you have your own bank account, make sure you're earning your own money, and because of that, you get to make your own choices, right? And so independence means you get to choose. Independence means I get to choose when I get to leave the job. I get to choose that what I do with my money. I get to choose, right? So it's a powerful place to play at. Independence, work ethic, right? So I have a crazy family. I learn work ethic. I learn independence really, really quickly. I learn that I'm on my own. And then I get this divine timing moment in my life and I have this urge and I get all this energy. You got to go overseas. So I bought a one-way ticket from Australia to London. And I knew, right, that I was never coming back again. Like this one-way ticket was going to get me from one end of the world to the other. And I wasn't coming back again, right? All by myself. Little greenie, I think I was like 19 or 20, from a small hick town in Australia, completely damaged by my family, full of anxiety. I was a bit of a mess, I won't lie. And I go to travel through Europe by myself and walk into trouble everywhere I go because I'm smiling at everybody and because that's what we do in Australia. And I end up in London, right, where my destiny was going to begin, because I was like, I'm going to walk off this plane and my life's going to be perfect because I've let go of my family, right? And I walk into trouble and I walk into trouble and I walk into such bad trouble. And that's a story for another time because it's quite dark and twisted. But we have these moments in our lives where we naively walk into things which are extremely damaging. And because I had no reference point of what was normal, because I had such a crazy family, the situation I got myself into it felt wrong, but also, hey, I've come from so much wrongness, then what's some more wrongness? And it felt kind of normal, right? So I kept walking into it. I walked into this situation to the point where I ended up on the streets of London with no money, no clothes, no bag, no nothing, like zero. I didn't even have any dignity left in me. Like there was nothing left in me. I didn't even have an ounce of self-esteem left in me. I had such an extreme experience that I was stripped completely of everything, right? Even that little bit of confidence that kind of got me through everything, I was stripped from it all, everything. All the things that you need to survive, money, food, home, clothes, dignity, right? Gone. And it was an intense moment, and it took me a few years to rebuild from that. But it taught me to rebuild myself. It taught me that I will make myself strong. It taught me that I will do this on my own. It gave me the most extraordinary strength to climb out of it, right? To rebuild and climb out of it. And it was a weird destiny because I was ready to pack my bags and go back to Australia before this happened. Because got to England, I was like, man, this place is awful. It's gray, it's dark, it's dingy, people are miserable. Like, I come from a tropical rainforest, where we eat mangoes off the tree. Like, I was packing my bags and ready to go home. This was not for me, right? I didn't feel like, but the universe, right? Because I was ready to go and take myself back home again, was like, let's walk you into trouble and destroy you, and then you've got no choice but to stay in England. So on a flip side, right? There's like this weird dark cosmic joke that comes out of this tragedy that I'm now in England, and I have to work in order to eat. I have to work in order to get my food, to even just get a ticket back home again, right? Couldn't even get a ticket back home. So we have these moments where we get brought to nothing, and some of us have these moments of debt, of a business collapsing, of a home burning down, of a relationship breaking up, and we're brought to these points of zero, right? And it happens, and it's not pleasant, but these points of zero, they make you dig deep so much into your soul to find your strength, to find who you are, to find that you believe in yourself. They make you dig until you put yourself back together in a new way so you can start again, right? So sometimes these very tragic moments where we get reduced back to survival, right? Reduced back to survival are actually moments where we get the opportunity to rebuild ourselves back again. So yeah, so that was powerful because it taught me no matter what happens in this world, you can still build yourself back up again. You can still find your path again. You will still find your way again, right? And so the universe does these things to us. I don't know if they're dark cosmic jokes or whether it's spiritual warrior training. I don't know which one it is, right? Maybe you can let me know what you think it is. Is it dark spiritual joke, cosmic joke, or is it warrior training, like spiritual warrior training, where you like get down to and you're like, now, right? Initiation, rebuild yourself back up again, right? And it's powerful because I know whatever happens, if I lose everything, I've got the power and the strength inside of me to rebuild myself up again. And it's also given me the power and the strength to rebuild other people back up again, right? This is why I love doing my healing work and my mentorship. It's because I know the power to rebuild, right? To rebuild you back up again in the right way. So that was a very big PowerPoint for me. And it made me resourceful. And I think this is another PowerPoint of our money story. Sometimes we have nothing. We've got no money, we've got no resources, we've got nothing to go and do the thing or buy the course or make a shift in our lives. But the other little gem I learned along the journey was resourceful. I have nothing, but what's in my environment that can help me? What's around? Which person can I talk to give me a clue? Is there a free course that I can take to build myself up again? Is there something I can do? Where's the resources in my environment that I can connect to help me? Right? So this is really key. Like, how can we be resourceful? That, for me, like, you can have no money and you can make your home look like a palace, right? Because you're resourceful. You might go to Free Cycle, you might find something, you might be able to do a bit of art, you might be able to recreate a feeling or a look because you're resourceful. So for me, creating abundance and luxury doesn't necessarily cost money. It's just you are able to be resourceful, right? Are you able to be resourceful? And where in your life have you been resourceful to bring abundance and wealth and prosperity to you? Because it's a constant thing, right? Where can I be resourceful? What's around me? What can I do? How can I up level my home? How can I up level the way I dress and yet not buy one thing? Yeah, it's all mindset, right? If I can not buy clothes for years and years and years, but it's up to me how I style it, how I dress it, how I put my hair, how I make myself feel good in it, right? And this key of resourcefulness is an absolute PowerPoint in our money story. So independence, work ethic, right? Being able to build ourselves up and encourage ourselves, no matter how zero we've gotten, right? And being resourceful, a super powerful thing, super powerful thing. So go journal on this, go and explore your timeline when you've got it, because when we recognize the PowerPoints in our timeline, we get a deeper energy to hold us and move us forward, right? This is what's important. Most of us look back at our timeline and go, oh shit, I come from a crazy family, a broken home, I had to do it all on my own, and I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And then all of a sudden, the past is a victim story, your present is a victim story, and your future becomes a victim story, right? So let go of that and rewrite your history, rewrite your timeline to find your PowerPoints to strengthen you. Yeah, I come from a family that made me independent. I come from a family that gave me good work ethics. The universe has put me through some extraordinary tests to make me resourceful and make me stand strong in myself. When we relook at that, it builds stronger energy inside of us, right? Builds stronger energy, stronger foundational energy inside of us so that we can walk forward. So go rewrite your story, right? So the next PowerPoint on my money story, I've only got, I think, about 3 more. I won't keep you for too long because I know life's busy and, we're doing a lunch break thing. So I hope you're enjoying your lunch. Is I became an apprentice. At about 23, 25, the healing world opened up to me. I was managing a health food shop. I managed to work myself up from stacking shelves. I was literally stacking shelves, putting food on shelves, pricing things, putting them on shelves, getting nuts for people, cans of baked beans, rice cakes, whatever, right? I worked myself up in a health food shop until I became a manager of it in the area that I live in, actually. And I worked my way up until I developed my understanding of vitamins, minerals, herbs. I was prescribing to up to 300 people a day. I became a nutritional therapist. I became a flower essence therapist. This is where my beginnings of learning about the human body, right? And I was also volunteering for the ambulance back in Australia, right? Because that's part of service. So I learned a lot. The body fascinated me. The body, mind, heart, soul fascinated me. And I worked my way up to being a manager. And I learned there how to be a good manager, and I learned how to be a good employee. And I doubled the sales of the shop because I learned to sell. I learned to communicate with people. I learned to find out their need. They'd come in with cystitis or a hormonal problem or something, and I found the thing that would help their needs, their pain. And I learned how to go, this is where you're at. If we do this combination, that is going to help here, and you're going to be here. So I learned to sell not from a place of, come buy from me, right? I learned to sell of, you have a need. How can I help you? What have I got that can help this thing to put you into a better place, right? So I learned to sell. I learned to sell to people, to humans in a beautiful, authentic way. But of course, being, for the health, I was even more curious. I was like, there's more to this body. There's more to our human experience. And my healing journey began, right? My healing journey began. And by the way, all this time I was in a rock band and I wanted to be a rock star. So there was a destiny moment, right? Because on one level I was learning all this health stuff, and on another level my ego was like, I want to be a rock star. I'm in a rock band and a singer, and that's my destiny. I'm going to be rich and famous and right. So on one level my ego was like having this destiny, and my body and soul and reality was having this other health destiny going on, right? So there was a bit of a conflict until the universe took away the band, and that's another story for another time. And my journey into the body continued, right? So sometimes we get these forks in the roads where, because I'm a big believer, like I said, there's only one path, right? Is for you to incarnate your soul and to create money from who you truly are, right? So for me to be a rock star would not have allowed me to really incarnate the totality of my soul. So we get these moments where life takes things away from us, or we have an accident and we get put back on track, or we have an illness and we get put back on track, or we meet somebody and it puts us back on track, or we get one job taken away, another one given to us, and it puts us back on track. So we get these like weird moments, and you may have had them, where life kind of rearranges itself to put you back on track, right? These divine timing moments or these destiny moments, and life just and it's like, no, we're doing this now. And you've got no choice but to go along with it. And this is part of you choosing your soul, is that you're also choosing your destiny, right? You're choosing why you're truly here. Choose your soul, choose your destiny, choose love and abundance, and you will find that you stay on track, right? There's only one path here. There's only one path. And I learned my healing, and I did Theta healing, and I was in service to learning and mastering my craft. People that make wealth and money and abundance, they master their craft. They get good at what they do. They become an expert. They become an authority. They learn, they study, and through this, right, the mastering of the craft, they begin to stand out from the crowd because they have something that is just powerful, right? Mastering your craft is going to help you along the journey into manifesting wealth and prosperity from your soul, right? Mastering your craft, getting good at it, learning it, going beyond, having a greater vision, being innovative, thinking another way to do things, bringing it, mastering your craft, whether it doesn't matter what it is. You master your craft and you become excellent at what you do, because we're after excellence. Soul embodiment is saying, I will be the most excellent version of myself. And because I'm in my excellence, the universe is going to bring excellence back to me. Because I know my worth, right? The universe will bring my worth back to me. So it's really important that we master our craft. So what, and be, and know what that is, right? I spent 10 years like in service, mastering my craft. I did 240 live teaching workshops and made thousands of Theta healing practitioners. I did 20,000 hours of private sessions with people, healing, learning, mastering my craft, okay? And it's so important that we master our craft. So important. We all have to learn to master our craft, okay? Mastering our craft. It's super, super, super important. Just noticed my connection on my Instagram's gone a bit funny. Where are you? Oh, geez. Anyway, you've got to master your craft. It is what it is. I'm sorry, people on Instagram. Anyway, maybe you can still hear me. I don't know. I don't understand how to press the button sometimes. Anyway, there we go. I'm back on Instagram. Mastering craft, okay? So you got to master your craft. So where are we at in this power story? Independence, work ethic, being resourceful, learning to go from zero to hero no matter what happens to you. Selling, learning to sell and know where to meet people at the right level, mastering your craft, right? And then, right, my daughter came along. I fell pregnant, and that's a beautiful story of how pregnant, fell pregnant. Had this massive Kundalini awakening, and the universe made love to me, and I fell pregnant with my daughter. But as soon as I fell pregnant with my daughter, I freaked the shit out, right? I wasn't ready to be a mom, but all my childhood trauma about coming from a single mom and being independent, I was like, now I've got to look after somebody. I've got a husband who supports me and looks after me, right? No problem. He looks after Aurora. It's beautiful. But in my mind, I have to be able to be the one that can make all my own money. I have to be the one that no matter what happens, if he dies, I have to be able to do it all on my own. In fact, I have to be able to make all the money in order to support my whole family all the time. And it clicked that in. And I was like, shit. And now I'm pregnant and I can't work and I can't go teach and I can't do all these things. What am I going to do? And I've got this like thing going on, like you gotta be able to support everybody, right? So we get these sometimes weird subconscious triggers within us that motivate us, and they come from sometimes odd places, right? That might not be the most highest or aligned thing, but they kickstart us because it's this fear. So sometimes we get driven by fear, and it's not a bad thing sometimes if we learn to flip it around, okay? So I'm like, shit, I can't work, I can't go out, I can't travel, I've got to make all this money to support everybody in my family. What am I going to do? And this is the moment I was like, I'm going to be a conscious creator here. I'm going to learn to apply everything I know, and I'm going to learn to be a conscious creator. And in fact, that means I have to be resourceful and work ethic and all the things I've learned now. And now I can only work online because I've got a baby. So now I'm going to have to enter into the online world. And it wasn't until maybe a year or two after Aurora, 3 or 4, that I actually started doing Instagram and social media. My whole work before there was just word of mouth. because I worked for some amazing organizations, Burjon and Illuminations in Dubai, which had the platform for me to work on, right? So I never really learned any marketing and business and all that stuff. But here I am, shit, I've got a baby, I can't go out and work, I got to get online. So the conscious creator within me said, okay, I've got a direction. I know where I'm going. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to muster up all my strength. And even though I'm tired breastfeeding, I'm going to just get up at 6 a.m. and try and make this thing happen. And I learned the tools that I needed for my industry to become a conscious creator online. Because sometimes you've got to learn some tools, right? Sometimes you've got to be like, shit, I don't know how to do this. I better go learn, right? So the journey into becoming a conscious creator and bringing prosperity to you is a journey into you getting tools, right? So that you can do it all on your own and be independent. Yes, you can outsource, but trust me, I've tried outsourcing and there's a lot of crappy people out there unless you find a really good one, right? So you got to learn to do it on your own. Sometimes it's just quicker. I learned to do my whole business on my own. I learned technology. I learned Zoom. I learned to do a website. I learned to do a platform. I learned to create all online courses. I learned to do marketing. I did some marketing courses. I learned to write copy. I learned to all these things so that I could work online and support my family, right? And it was good. And I got independent and I wrote a book and I started to do retreats and I got creative. I was like, how can I deliver my soul's work in a creative way? Because I get bored very, very easily. And so I learned how to put on a retreat. I learned how to do a day course. I learned how to write a newsletter. And I just began. And I just kept doing it and doing it. And sometimes I'd have a full class, sometimes I wouldn't. It wouldn't matter. But I was on my path. I was following my own trail of my soul, choosing to be a conscious creator about what I wanted and needed to create from my soul. Right? And that's beautiful and that's powerful. When you start to create something from the depths of your soul and you get money back in return, that you know you've hit the right spot. You know you're doing something what you should be, right? And it could be anything. Maybe you're a hairdresser and you set up your own hairdressing business. Maybe you're an artist and you earn money from your own art. Maybe you're a photographer and you go do photography or film, or it doesn't matter. Which industry, right? The point is, it's that moment where we get to create something from our talents, our gifts, from our life's work, from the masterpiece of ourselves, and we earn abundance money from it, right? So that's the journey of the conscious creator that we all need to choose and develop and become, right? So that's another PowerPoint. And then there's 2 more PowerPoints to go. And then, so I'm learning to make money and And then, what are we going to call the next PowerPoint? The next PowerPoint is, I don't know, I guess it's the moment where we create the abundance we desire. So the COVID years were amazing for me. I was online. I worked out, I just hit the online thing and I did really well. Super abundant. Wow. My abundance coming out of my ears and my eyes and my nose and I was creating from the depths of and I was creating so much abundance. And it was like, wow, I've arrived. I'm creating for my soul and I'm creating amazing amounts of abundance and prosperity, right? I'm creating exponential wealth, right? You're on this like, I'm going to get bigger and better and you're on this trip. And then the universe, as it always does, has these wonderful little moments so that you step deeper into your truth and onto your path. And then I had these great years and all of a sudden, I didn't have these great years. They're okay, but they weren't on my exponential growth of wealth. And I started to doubt myself. And I was like, is this right? Is this wrong? Am I doing something wrong? But these are the moments when we start to play with money, right? And the money's not coming in like it used to. And then you say to yourself, I'm playing a game with the universe here. This is more than just me producing something and getting money from it. This is me choosing to be in such alignment with my soul and creating wealth and abundance from that, because I'm like, this is the real game I'm playing. So if the universe is not bringing me back the abundance that I'm used to, what is it within me that needs to shift? What is it within me that I need to change? What is it within me that needs to grow? How can I redefine what I'm offering? How can I make my offerings more powerful, more potent, more ethical, more encompassing, more timeless? How can I change my branding? And then we go on this other journey of refinement. Who am I really? How am I really turning up in my authenticity? And it makes you re-identify, restructure yourself, re-strip. And I had a massive midlife crisis, right? Because a lot of my old self had to go so that I could find a deeper layer of my truth to exist from. And so we get these moments where we learn to create and then it kind of doesn't flow as well. And it's like, that's because I need to come into deeper alignment and deeper resonance. And that's a beautiful part of the journey. Because I don't want to be half creating from myself. I don't want to be quarter creating from myself. I want to arrive in my totality. And I want to have an abundant life from my totality. So it was really, really interesting. It kind of there's a few things that let me unpack a few things here. One is when I made lots and lots of money. I had all this money that I didn't quite know what to do with it as well. So I was kind of learning what to do with money, and I felt like I spent money in wrong ways or not so aligned ways, or I could have been more powerful with it, right? So one element of learning money is learning how to spend it and what to do with it. And because before I just didn't spend any money. I just used to save. I was a good little saver. I was for a long time, never in debt, just a good saver. And then I had all this money. I was like, I don't know what to do with it. And then I made some silly mistakes, right? Because sometimes you're learning to spend money and work money and knowing, am I putting this money in the right place? Am I putting this money to benefit myself and others? Or am I just putting this money to support my own ego, right? So I had some money, learning how to spend money, and also learning to make sure that the wealth that I'm creating is coming from the depths of my incarnation and the depths of the truth of why I want to be here. Right. So now I'm going on another journey of another big, massive creation. Learning all this, there's another creation coming on. You'll get to, it'll be revealed over the next 6 to 8 months, but I've come to a new point of that. I'm like, now I know who I am. Now I know I'm here. Now I know my offerings, and I feel solid in it. And I know it's going to last me for the next 10, 15, 20 years, and it's going to be amazing, right? Because I feel good. So I feel strong. I feel solid. I feel like now I feel solid in my wealth and abundance and prosperity creation. And that's a good place to be, where you feel super solid, right? Being solid in yourself. And recently I've been learning about dharmic generosity. There are these moments where we've earned wealth and we need to give it away. We need to find the places where our dharma, where our offerings go. So, I found the Honey Queen tribe, the beautiful tribe in the Amazon who I've fallen in love with. I've given money there. There's been some other places where I've put in money, put in time to help build things. So there are these places where we also learn to generously give for no other reason that it's from the depths of the goodness of our soul. So abundance is, yes, it's about creating. Yes, it's about receiving. But abundance is also about giving, right? Where can we give? Where can we spend? Where can we put our money? How does our money unlock doors for other people? And getting wise with that, right? Getting wise with that. So yes, this has been the journey of my PowerPoints of my wealth creation story, right? Independence, worth ethics, growing from zero to hero. I can't remember them all. Being resourceful, learning to sell, becoming in service, mastering my craft, becoming a conscious creator, learning what it is to have money and what to do with it, and then also learning about dharmic generosity and stepping deeper and deeper into my dharmic purpose to bring money from that perspective, because this is the only game I want to play, right? I've lived enough life. I've seen enough things, right? This is the only game I want to play. And we come to a point where we have to choose the game we want to play, right? And playing the game of wealth and abundance and prosperity is all part of that. I think that's what I wanted to say. So just put your hands up, I don't know, or just take a few deep breaths and just receive all this transmission, because in my words is codes, is teachings, is awakenings, is shifts for you to take. So take them, right? Because we're all here to walk each other home. My journey is going to help fast track your journey. The way I walk helps you to walk, right? Or the way you walk helps the rest of us to walk. So let's just receive, integrate. Maybe it sparked something inside of you that you need to look at or journal on. So let it move through you. Let it move through you. And let me know in the chat how you're going. So we've got people from Uganda. Biliana says, hit me deeply. Thank you so much. Beautiful. So come on this journey into wealth and prosperity over the next 2 weeks with me. I have a webinar coming up next Wednesday. You'll find the link in my profile. right? Come join it. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's going to be powerful energy clearings and things like that. And then we have my Creating Abundance Intensive course, and it's super cool. I was about to swear then. It's one of my community programs. So once you're in, you're in. And every year we get more upgrades. So as I upgrade my wealth consciousness, I bring those teachings and those masterclasses to you every year. And so the people that joined me 3 years ago, they've gotten last year and then this year and all the other, and they'll continue to get all the upgrades as I keep going every year. So it's amazing because abundance brings abundance, right? If you start the journey now, then more abundance keeps coming. And that's how I want to play in this particular vortex. It's called Creating Abundance Intensive because for me, for someone who's come from nothing, right? Creating abundance is what's important, right? Creating prosperity, learning to play the game of wealth, learning to interact in an abundant universe, learning to shift your mindset, your emotions to play this game. It's a game, it's a path, right? It's a choice. It's definitely a choice to choose wealth. So that's also coming up, and we do all sorts of things. I think we're up to about 24, 25 masterclasses. And the idea of this is you listen to it over a month and it's going to rewire you, reshape you, up level you, get rid of a lot of old stuff, clear you, release you, and just up level you, because a lot of it is an internal game, right? A lot of us actually hold on to poverty consciousness more than we realize, that we've gotten from our genetics, from our life, from just the way that we talk to ourselves or interact with life. And that can be debilitating, right? So this Creating Abundance Intensive is a powerful, powerful vortex. You can come DM me if you want the link for it, but I'm offering 25% off, right? We've got an early bird now. So if you take the early bird price and you take 25% off, it's like a very, very good deal. I think it comes down to like 600 quid or something like that, silly. But you'll only know that this code exists if you've listened right to the end of here. And the code is Wealth Star 888. If you can't remember it, Wealth Star 888, I think it is, then just DM me and just say, listen, I've listened to this PowerPoint masterclass, right? And I want the codes to get the 25% off the Creating Abundance Intensive. So you'll only know about, I'm not going to advertise it anywhere else. It's only if you've gotten to this point here that you'll be like, I want that code. I want that code. So you can always message me for it. So that's the game we're going to play over the next 2 weeks. Come along. Let me inspire you. Let me unlock you. Let me trigger you, right? This is also, it will trigger you. It will trigger your stuff, right? It will trigger your stuff. It will trigger, and that's a good thing because it means you're moving out of old patterns and stepping into new things, right? But we got to, it's a choice to play this game. I want you to choose to play this game because there's only one path, right? And I'll tell you what, it's nice to buy yourself things too. Like I just recently bought this beautiful necklace and this earring, and I got a nice denim jacket. And, it's nice to treat yourself along the journey because you can, right? And I love being generous. I love being generous with my friends. I love taking them for dinner or being extra with them because it's a part of who I am. I'm a generous person by nature, which which is why some people say I should be charging more of all my courses and things like that. But I want to make it accessible to people. So you've got the code, or DM me for the codes for the Creating Abundance Intensive. Otherwise, there's a free masterclass and meditation next Wednesday. You'll find the link. Come and join me. And what else can I tell you? Hi, Selma. Hi. That's it, really. I'm going to have fun with this. Come along for the game. Have a look at these PowerPoints. Journal on them yourself. You'll be able to make so many breakthroughs when you, even if you just choose the PowerPoints that I've taken you on today and like journal on them and make them work out your story around it and make them a PowerPoint in your life, you'll shift your money story and your wealth consciousness massively, right? So yes. Thank you so much for being here. I have so much to share with you always. It's an absolute joy to bring you these teachings and these wisdoms and the journey, right? Because the journey is not always easy, but when we understand how to play it, it makes it much easier. So I hope you have you get a lot out of gotten a lot out of today. I think that's the most important thing. And just one little thing. I manifested a ticket today, right? So all my soul family is going to Love Jam Festival. I'm going to my Base Festival tomorrow. And I was like, but my soul family's there. And I need my soul family. And they don't sell any tickets on Friday. And I felt my heart like, oh, I want this so much. Like, I want to be there. I know I'm there. I felt myself there, right? And then I said to myself, let's manifest for this. I'm going to manifest myself a ticket to be there, right? I'm going to manifest myself a ticket to be there because I can't buy a ticket. So all I can do is manifest one now. And I got a ticket. And I was like, yes. So these little things are fun to play with in the abundance game. How can we create something from nothing? How can we manifest something from nothingness, right? I just also manifested a mulberry bag from my friend. I was like, yes, right? How can we create something from nothingness? And that's also a fun game to play in this abundant universe, right? And it's an important game to play too, because it shows us that we don't actually need to spend money to get what we need. And so we learn to play with frequencies at a different level. Okay. I think I have given you the information I needed to give you. Drink it all in, breathe it into all your cells. And I see you around around here on social media, or join my newsletter, come join the masterclasses, the meditation next Wednesday. Come hang out with me. And I'm just sending you the biggest wave of love. So thank you. If you've enjoyed it, let me know. If you've got any questions, let me know. Thank you for sharing. Abundance brings abundance. It certainly does. I'm just going through the chat now. Thank you. Amazing. People, have fun. It's a game. Bye. Boris, hi.